Ahoy, and welcome back to DohMance Dawn. I'm Luke, he, him, sometimes they, them,
I'm Janine, she, they.
and we are joined this week by our first guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dylan Roth, he, him, and pleasure to be here.
Welcome aboard, Dylan. We're now on a metaphorical ship. Friendship. It's a viable treasure here. This is DohMance Dawn, the podcast where we recap One Piece episodes and then assign Simpsons characters to those roles. Uh, Happy to have you. I know, Dylan, that you are a big Simpsons fan.
I am. I caught the Simpsons bug at a pretty young age when I was watching the show first run with my entire family, including my mother, who was always like, "I don't know if the kids should watch this show." But growing up, it was appointment TV on, I guess it was Sunday nights when we were watching it most religiously. It's still there at Sundays. I grew up in an area where the New York and Philadelphia broadcast stations overlapped, even on cable. So I almost every weeknight during like my formative years, I would watch a Simpsons episode at 6 on one of the Fox channels, either New York or Philly. Can't remember which one it is. Then the other one would have the Simpsons on at 7, but at 6:30 they both had the Simpsons, and I could choose which episode I wanted to watch because they wouldn't be the same one. So I absorbed a lot of Simpsons in my day, and then a lot of my friends growing up have been enormous Simpsons fans, and we've been it's been an enormous part of our lexicon pretty much forever.
And then, what is your experience with One Piece?
One Piece. Somebody recommended that I buy the first volume of the manga when I was, I think, in eighth or ninth grade, and I read that and enjoyed it. And like every other manga I ever picked up the first volume of, I never read it again.
That's perfectly fair. So you've been a friend for a long while now. You're also a musician. You are also a blogger, and you are a person with a lot of knowledge about Star Trek.
I am. I would say that's probably my specialty. That's what I get paid to write about the most often. I'm currently reviewing and recapping new episodes of Star Trek Picard for Observer.com, and I'll be picking up Strange New Worlds for Fanbyte in May. So it's that would be so I'm no stranger to a really dense mythology.
Fair. Which Star Trek captain would you say is the most like Luffy?
Oh boy.
Do you need some thinking music?
I know you're itching to use that soundboard, so lay it on me. It's been a long Damn it! Son of a. Okay. The thing is, the answer actually, I was probably going to say Jonathan Archer from Star Trek Enterprise would be the one most like Luffy, in that I think he's the least competent, and honestly, I was thinking about this the other day because just in the ordinary just day to day of my life, I'm always dedicating something like 15 to 20% of the RAM in my head to thinking about Star Trek, and I was thinking about that even as the number of Star Trek captains expands very, very quickly, because not only have there been a number of new shows, but for the first couple seasons, every season on Star Trek Discovery, they had a different captain. And like there's Captain Carol Freeman on Lower Decks, and like since that show's like an office workplace sort of comedy, the bit is that she's like very insecure and has a really insignificant post, and so like she's like texturally not the best captain. Like that's part of the whole thing. None of them on this crew are the best. That's why they're there, right? Mm-hmm. But I think I would definitely still take both her and Gabriel Lorca from the first season of Discovery over Jonathan Archer. And Lorca is literally evil. And I think I would still rather spend time with him than Jonathan Archer. Just the biggest bore. But Luffy's not a bore. Luffy's fun. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there really is a very easy one-to-one comparison, because if we're talking about somebody who's kind of chipper, Archer has that. but he's not whimsical. For whimsy, you got a little bit of whimsy in Kirk. Picard is secretly whimsy in private, but he's got nothing else in common with Luffy. And so I might have to, maybe Christopher Pike, the new version of Pike from Discovery and Strange New Worlds, might be the closest. But if I feel like being mean to Luffy, meaner than Luffy deserves, I'll say Jonathan Archer.
I mean, we've discussed before how my Star Trek background means that uh, Enterprise was what I watched with my dad growing up. So I've got emotional attachments to a show that's not great.
I mean, that's part of being a Trekkie, right? None of these shows are ironclad. The Next Generation, arguably the best of them, doesn't, it's got maybe 3 really good episodes before the 3rd season of the show, and one of them's like Dynamite. But listen, a lot of it's shit. A lot of Star Trek is shit. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the ones that are shit are the most fun.
Well, we haven't gotten to bad One Piece yet, and it's out there. I mean, there's a certain point where the manga or the anime changes from like getting to adapt a few chapters per episode or like a few chapters of the manga into an anime episode to like one chapter per one anime episode because they caught up and they're afraid of doing filler stuff. So I mean, yeah, there's going to be a point where there's a discussion had about how to handle that sort of thing. But right now, we are in the good days. We are in the runtime from March 22nd to May 10th of the year 2000.
Honestly, how good is that though? Like to have a show that you could be able to say starts good and then gets bad?
I mean, that's pretty common.
Is it? Because like there's a lot of stuff that people are recommending to me and saying like, "Oh no, it just gets better after 13 episodes."
Yeah, I feel like that's like a phenomenon. I feel like, I was just talking about Star Trek is so often that way. I feel like there's no Star Trek series that I get to recommend somebody saying, "Oh, it's really just great from the get go." Or like I definitely know what you mean. I think there's more pressure now on TV shows because people tend to start from the beginning. Because like once upon a time when The Simpsons started airing, like it also needed some time to really get going, right? Like I don't think season 1 of The Simpsons is very good. Some people would disagree, and that's a matter of opinion, but I think it takes a while to get going. But when this was airing, these are shows made for syndication, right? Where you just pick up any episode, doesn't matter what order you watch them. It didn't used to be expected for the first season of a show, especially a comedy. Comedies take a while to find their rhythm, right? So but now that people tend to, you start a show by going to a streaming website and pressing play season 1, episode 1. If you can't nail it early on and you don't have somebody around to tell you that you need to keep watching, you're going to bail. So I think it's kind of special and sometimes kind of rare, especially on older shows, for something to be good at the start and then get shitty.
Well, to make it clear, One Piece doesn't really run into bad timing issues until like episode 700. So
that's a hell of a run.
Oh, it's over 1,000 episodes at this point.
Yeah, what did you get me into, you bastard?
I wanted a podcast topic where we could just clearly roll ahead, plan things through, and eventually there's just a point where everyone's like, yeah, no, if you want to keep watching, here's the links to the fan-edited episodes. That way you don't need to spend 20 minutes every time you want 5 minutes of content.
Well, it sounds like, if it takes 700 episodes for One Piece to start sagging, then it's definitely in better shape than The Simpsons.
Yes. Concurrent Simpsons episodes, to the ones that we're going to be covering, were kind of some saggy episodes. Because that's where you had Bart the Future, which is the one where we see the Lisa President future that had a lot of jokes that unfortunately came true, like Trump's presidency.
Yeah, Bart to the Future, roundly not good. That I did rewatch before I listened to the show and was just going on the instructions. I was thinking, oh, I should also be watching all of the Simpsons episodes that were concurrent. And that turns out not to be necessary. And I don't feel too bad about it because I love to watch the Simpsons. But boy, Back to the Future, pretty bad ep.
Yeah, Days of Wine and Doses, which is where Barney gets sober and he actually stays sober for a while Bart and Lisa try and win a photo contest. It's a decent one. I believe that's one that was written by Dan Castellaneta.
I kind of like that one, and I remember watching that one first run and being like, "Oh wow, they're gonna keep Barney sober." I was like impressed with them, even like as a kid, you don't expect those, and I guess for the time period, you just don't expect those kind of things to change in a cartoon. Some good bits in there.
There was also Kill the Alligator and Run, which was one of their now kind of annual travel episodes where they went down to Florida, and it's really hit or miss as well.
I'd say hit or miss is exactly the right way to describe it, because there are I took some notes right before I realized the format of the show didn't require a lot of detail on the Simpsons episodes, and what I wrote here is like, okay, so this is like the epitome of like what fans call jerk ass Homer, which is when he's transformed from being sort of like a kind of dimwitted everyman to just like the biggest piece of shit, and that's what drives the story. I'm swearing a lot. That's okay, right? I think that's normal here.
This is for the children, but everyone was children once.
Okay, would you like me to stop?
I'm fine with it.
Okay. Thought I should check it. The Robert Evans and Charlie Rose bit was funny. And
wait, do we swear on this podcast? Because I've let some I've let some loose before too. So like, I gotta know.
No, we can swear. I'm not taking the time to edit in sound effects.
Okay, it's just like I don't want to give you an explicit tag if you don't normally have one.
We'd get there after the last episode shenanigans.
Oh yeah.
I still have the PJ's theme song on the soundboard. But yeah, no, I didn't see this episode for years because I think that was around the point where I started dipping out of rewatches. And the one thing that is stuck in my mind is just Marge screaming, "Take him off the glass, take him off the glass." Because that was in the second Simpsons episode guide, or no, the third Simpsons episode guide. That was like one of the things where it's like, she's specifically referencing a rap song that says, "Put him on the glass, put him on the glass." I read through those things multiple times. And then the last one was Last Tap Dance in Springfield, which like has some bits that people remember, like Tappa Tappa Tappa.
Yeah, I actually have watched this episode recently. I sometimes just like a habit I picked up when I used to live with my old friend and current drummer, Julian Ames from No Jersey. We would occasionally just during meals we'd say like sort of, okay, pick a season, all right, pick a number, and we just throw on an episode. And so sometimes I'll just like to get us through, just eating whatever takeout or whatever we were working on. And so I kind of picked up that habit sometimes when I'm just like, I'm taking a break from work and I'm putting on, I have like about, 20 minutes, 30 minutes to myself. I don't feel like really absorbing too deeply into anything. I'll do that sort of thing with The Simpsons and just put on some random episode that I know I haven't seen in a while. That one's, again, for like what's considered the tail end of watchable Simpsons, like, I don't know, it's got its moments.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of camping out in the mall. Just it seems like it would be fun to do. But yeah, no, we also get a bunch of characters. We get aged up versions of a bunch of the main cast. We get Maggie Jr. Charlie Rose and Robert Evans are now characters we can use. We can now use Kid Rock. And a few more.
If we so choose, I suppose we could use Kid Rock.
Yeah. But this week this episode, we are covering episodes 19 through 24 of One Piece. That includes Past of the Three Swords, the promise between Zoro and Kuina,
the famous cook, Sanji of the floating restaurant,
An unexpected guest, Sanji's food and Gin's grace.
The greatest pirate fleet, Captain Don Krieg.
Protect Baratie. Is that how it's pronounced?
Baratie.
Baratie. The great pirate Zeph, the Red Leg.
Hawkeye's Mihawk. Swordsman Zoro falls into the sea.
And it's an interesting bunch of episodes. For one thing, we get Kuina, who's a character who shows up as a cameo in the second episode, and we get the story of how Zoro got serious about swords, and it's basically his best friend slash rival was Kuina, who is the daughter of the dojo master. He wanted to be the best at swords. She was better, and then she had anxiety because her dad was kind of a huge piece of shit to her. Because he's like, yeah, you're a woman, you're a girl. Eventually, you'll become a woman, and you can never be strong enough. And
yeah, not exactly a progressive father of the year. Definitely, kind of blew it.
Yeah. And so Zoro and Kuina are like, yeah, no, we want to win. Kuina keeps kicking his ass almost 1,000 times, and Zoro's like, yeah, no, I won't let you fail because of this reason. And then just off screen, Kuina dies. And it's tragic, and that's what is driving him on, because he made a promise that one of them would be the strongest swordsman. And you know about the 4Kids dub and how it made some choices, right, Dylan?
I heard you talking about it on the show previously. I don't know how they handled something like this, where a child dies in a sword fight.
Oh, she just gets an illness and is never seen again.
Okay. I guess you could do that.
Which makes something that will be reaching at about 5 or 6 episodes so much worse. So much worse. Yeah, it has big trans kids energy for me, and I'm not entirely sure why. Yeah. Do you have anything to add for that first story, Janine?
No. I mean, I guess I'm gonna sit on that bomb and wait for that one to go off.
Yeah,
when
it's
it do.
going to be fun, and then there have been articles written and discussions had, but that's worries for when we are 800 episodes down the line. But yeah, and then Luffy is just like, hey, let's go test out this cannon. They start randomly shooting and end up finding Johnny and Yosaku, who are Zoro's old friends, who are also pirate hunters who are dealing with scurvy. And it turns out that everyone's like, oh yeah, shit, we're going to die if we don't get a chef who can cook. And Luffy's just like, I want to get a musician.
And hell, frankly, I think that every pirate crew needs one.
Mm-hmm. A musician or a chef?
Oh, a musician.
Fair. I got scurvy once.
No, I didn't.
Yo, for real?
That. Yeah. I was really broke and just basically living off of ramen noodles for the longest time. And I had to go to the urgent care because I was just having bleeding gums and just immense pain, and I was just really weak, and the doctor came back with a glass of orange juice and said, hey, drink this, and I was like, oh, this is actually doing something. And they're like, yeah, you dumbass, you got scurvy.
Dang. All right, well, of course, now granted, this is this situation, it's it sucks. I'm very glad you are okay. I'm starting to think maybe, given the circumstances under which people are usually eating a lot of ramen noodles, I really think they should be fortified with every vitamin and mineral the body needs. Because usually when you're in ramen mode, that's that's it. So if you're not getting it from your ramen, you're not getting it. So I kind of think it's on them for not including vitamin C in the recipe.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Um, yeah. Also, before Johnny and Yusaku are found, that is when the first One Piece movie would have taken place, but that one never got an official English release, so we
So are we
aren't
missing a
concerned
piece
about
of the
that.
story, or is that like
No,
supplemental?
it's completely supplemental. Like, there's some movies where it's like, oh, hey, here's specific episodes that tie in and build things up. And other times it's just like, yeah, no, here's a story that happens, or this is literally a recap movie of with new animation. But yeah, so they end up finding their way to Baratie. That is where they run into Full Body, who is part of the Navy, who wants the pirates destroyed. They shoot a cannon. Luffy accidentally fires it into the ship, causing damage. And Zeph, the captain of the Baratie, is like, okay, you're going to have to work here for a year to pay it off. Sanji is the sous chef, who nobody really likes, but he has a history with Zeph. And Luffy fucking sucks at work, and it's great.
Luffy is a character who I feel like it's people. Again, granted, I read the first volume a while back. I watched these episodes, which I found like really actually very very fun to watch, and it kind of made me think about continuing to watch. Except for I don't know that I have time in my life for another show that has 700 to 1,000 episodes. But it seems like people are very ready to entrust Luffy with tasks, and until till they actually know Luffy, and then they're kind of stuck with Luffy and psychologically have to convince themselves that Luffy is worth hanging out with to justify the commitment they've made.
You're not wrong. He's definitely got things that he's good at, and being a busboy is not one of those things. Like, the fact where he's just smashing dishes instead of washing them is beautiful. A Full Body gets pissed off when Sanji refuses to bring him the bottle of wine that he wanted to use to show off, so he puts a bug in his soup, and Sanji just gets pissed off because he's wasting food. Full Body gets called away because Geen, who is a member of Don Krieg's pirate crew, has escaped. Uh, Geen comes in hungry, and no one offers to feed him food except for Sanji, who never will turn down a person who is hungry. Geen sails off refreshed from the food, goes back to Don Krieg, who a few days later appears with his uh, big galleon ship that is larger than all the other boats. He demands food, which Sanji provides, despite everyone else's complaints and the stories that how Don Krieg is a liar and a cheat who will like put up the white flag so he can get close before turning on people or fly navy flags. And he apparently had this massive armada and was heading to the Grand Line. No one's entirely sure what happened to him. So after Sanji gives him food, Don Krieg threatens everybody if they don't feed the rest of his crew. Zeph shows up, provides all the food that Don Krieg needs. Don Krieg recognizes Zeph as a pirate who had gone into the Grand Line and demands his map book, and Zeph refuses. So now we have this big fight brewing, but we also find out that one person just casually destroyed almost all of Don Krieg's armada, which is Hawkeye Mihawk, the man who Zoro's been looking for. And Hawkeye just comes in on a tiny little floating coffin, essentially, destroys the rest of the ship, and meanwhile, Nami ends up stealing the Going Merry, kicking out Johnny and Yosaku while everyone else is waiting on the ship. So Luffy's like, okay, well, we gotta fight and save this ship. That way I'll no longer have to do all that work. So Usopp, Johnny, and Yosaku head off to go chase after Nami wherever she went. And Zoro faces down Mihawk and gets his ass handed to him. But he also has Mihawk's respect. And that's kind of where we go. Or that's kind of where we end. Don Krieg and his pirates are refreshed, but their ship is destroyed, so now they have to steal the Baratie if they are going to make it back out to sea.
I really did enjoy the food as a human right angle on these particular episodes.
Oh yeah, it's great. And like I forgot that we don't get the reasoning to that until the second batch of these episodes.
I don't know. I think it's rad. Like I like the idea that it shouldn't even require an explanation.
Hmm.
I think it rocks. Like first of all, Sanji fucking rules. Uh, like an absolute like super righteous character who's like really good at um I guess people mock his cooking, but very
Hmm.
passionate about feeding people and has like a very specific code. And I'm a sucker for a character who has a very specific code that they adhere to very very closely. And the idea of being like, if you're starving, I will always feed you, and you will all because what I do is I cook for people, and if you have need of my services and my skills, I'm going to give them to you. But once you are fed, you are no longer my responsibility, and
Yeah,
I will kill you with a sword if I have to.
it's true. Uh, yeah. I mean, Sanji definitely gets a really strong introduction. The other part of his personality is he horny.
Oh yeah, he horny.
It definitely was
Because
a bit of a the idea like we only see him falling head over heels once, I guess, in this episode. I imagine it happens more often if this is the thing that we
twice.
remember the most. Oh, you're right. That's right, because he flirts with Moody as well.
Hmm.
Um yeah, well, I guess does that become a thing that's like, is he like and forgive me for using only the most extremely basic anime references, but that become like a Brock sort of running gag?
Uh, to an extreme where there is a point where he is told if he gets too horny, he will die of blood loss.
Okay. Well,
One
Wow.
I'll
piece
tell
is
you what,
wild.
this is actually helping the really long shot pick for Simpsons character that I have written down.
All right. Well, yeah, we have 15 characters to sort of pick a Simpsons character for, so we're just going to run through these in order. I'm excited about this discussion because I watched the episodes like right after we finished the last one, and I've watched them like another time since. It's just like I'm here for the discussion because the Sanji problem was complicated. But Sanji's not up first. Up first is Kishiro and Kuina, and I feel like there's ways that you can kind of bind them together. I've got three pitches for them, but I'm interested to hear what y'all are thinking first. So, Janine or Dylan?
I mean, I've got a couple of names,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and that's it. Like I just have a name for Kuina, and I have a name for Mister Kuina or whatever. Um, and they come kind of as a package deal because they come from the same episode, and that is Allison Taylor, Lisa's rival, and Mr. Taylor, the father, who is like the only family member of Allison Taylor that we see, which kind of fits, I think, maybe.
Janine, you and I are on the same page here. I also wrote down Allison Taylor. The idea, for if any, I don't know who people are listening who don't know The Simpsons. Allison Taylor is Lisa's rival, the character who seems to be better than Lisa at everything that Lisa is good at. Plus, she's a year younger because she skipped a grade. Um, but not remembering the father specifically character wise, I was thinking more along the lines of trying to pick a teacher who had the right kind of energy to be like not the usual sort of lazy incompetent teacher
Mm-hmm.
from The Simpsons. Like, and certainly this is too small a character to give like Edna Krabappel.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and like the most famous good teacher, which we don't really want to use, Mr. Bergstrom from Lisa's Substitute. So I went like kind of split difference and said Miss Hoover.
Interesting.
But I think your pick is probably better.
Oh, yeah, no, I was Mr. Taylor, and Allison Taylor is like the good pick. Uh,
Oh, do you have like an off the wall pick?
yes, I've got a off the wall pick that sort of hints at something. The wild idea is Barry and Sherry McElberry.
You might have to refresh my memory on that one.
Sherry and Terry McElberry, the twins, and their dad.
Oh, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I was unaware of the deep McElberry lore where there might be a brother and also a third twin.
Is that how that works?
A
Ah,
third twin, yeah.
a triplet. Um, yeah, I also just tossing out ideas had Timothy and Jessica Lovejoy, but no, like Mr. Taylor and Allison Taylor, I think are like the perfect fit here because Mr. Taylor is definitely like condescending to Lisa,
Mm-hmm.
like when she can't figure out an anagram. So yeah, no, I feel like we are all on a good page there.
You said you
All on
had a
the same
third
page.
pitch. Did you have another weirder one?
Oh, that was the Lovejoys.
Okay. That came to mind for me also, especially since if we were to, but like Jessica Lovejoy is kind of like I guess like a character that we would think of as like undisciplined, right? Whereas Kawina is like extremely disciplined.
Hmm.
But
And
it came to mind
like
here too.
actively evil,
Yes,
which
Kawina is
Kuina
not.
is not. We then have Johnny and Yosaku, and I don't feel like I had a good answer for these. So I just put down the yellow weasel and the black weasel. Like Nelson's still unnamed henchmen from the early seasons who still keep on appearing.
Oh, interesting. That kind of does fit in with the idea that we did uh, label Zoro as
Nelson?
Nelson. Yeah.
Mhm.
I kind of just like wanted to throw out two beloved characters because like I don't think that they're actually important enough to have as like other characters. I put down Lenny and Carl because to be honest, like as much as I do love them as characters, they're just kind of like there for just like one line goofs and then they're gone.
Oh, but
So
I
like
love Lenny and Carl.
I
Well,
don't know,
we
like
all love Lenny and Carl, but
yeah, but hot take
you have a
here,
point.
like a hot take here. I could burn them on these two like right now and like sleep at night.
Oh, I
Oh, I think it's like I get that. Like, name me a Carl episode or a Lenny episode. That's not really a thing, right? At least
mm,
not in the period of time we're talking
yeah.
about. So
Okay, yeah,
I can get into that.
because there's the one where they go to Carl's family in Sweden or Scandinavia. I don't remember which Scandinavian country because his last name is Carlson. So,
Uh
but
okay,
I've
so it
not
might be
actually
beyond my
seen that one.
experience. Yeah, but
But I mean, that's the point where like everybody gets a fucking episode.
so my picks were kind of splitting the difference. I was thinking along the same lines that you were, Luke, where I was going based on branching off of Nelson, but I
Hmm.
picked Dolph and Carney as
Hmm.
Yosaki and Johnny respectively.
Hmm.
I went with higher level goons. Um, but I also don't know how long these two characters are going to stick around. So
They like have a bit more work in the next arc, and then they get regulated to like one other flashback filler arc, and then I think there's a point where they just completely retire and become farmers.
See,
good
that
for them.
feels like a Lenny and Carl thing.
I I I don't want to call a shot, but there's going to be two characters who you want to save Lenny and Carl for.
Eh.
I mean, I'm fine giving it to the Weasels because the relation
Nelson.
to Nelson, but like I mean, they're only there for like the first few seasons and then they're just kind of like background filler.
I mean, that's what
That's kind of like
Johnny
what
and
Yosaku
Yosaku
and
are.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Fair
So
enough.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, like I can mark off that. Yeah.
I'm curious now about who the Lenny and Carl figures are going to be, but I guess I'll have to wait and find out.
Yep. You'll join us on the cruise, maybe. So then we have Sanji, and
Oh, this was
I
hard.
yeah, no, I shared the chart that I made with you, Dylan. Let me now share it with Janine. Because Sanji is an intersection of horny, cook, and teen. And I just sent the chart to Janine Because you've got your horny characters, you've got your teen characters, and you've got your cook characters. But finding that intersection was a challenge for me. So I'm interested to hear what y'all have. I also had some worst worse suggestions.
I think that this does bring up a point that I did see that came to me when I was actually watching another cartoon show and listening to their commentary, and that was Mission Hill. They created characters that were in their teens to early 20s, specifically because The Simpsons don't have characters that are in their teens to early 20s.
How far out?
And like just like having that in mind and just like looking through the wiki, I was just like, oh damn, they're right. And they didn't really make any either.
Yeah.
They just kept everybody's like, you're either like under 15 or over 28.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's just a consequence of the ages of their principals, right? Like, I guess none of them really have any business hanging out with a 15-year-old. But yeah, considering this show's been going on for our entire lives, that's kind of crazy that they still haven't gotten there.
I mean, what about everybody's favorite character, Roy?
Roy, you got it, Mrs. S.
Roy is the human version of Poochie. For those who do not know Roy.
All right, I got some, and I stress some for Sanji.
Okay.
And one that I think that you'll really enjoy that is way out left field.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Have at it.
Okay, first one is Langdon Alger. Just a name that's just referenced that was Leisha's crush at one time. Just because it was just kind of like an easy kind of throwaway, and I don't know exactly like how. I mean, I know Sanji's like in the main character. He was in the 4Kids rap. But like, you know, I was running out of space. I had Dolph Starbeam because Dolph seems to be like the only one of the bullies that seems to kind of have like some level of like heart in him. I have, get ready for this, Bart fucking Simpson. We haven't used him yet. For Luffy, we have Stretch Dude.
Yes.
The alter ego of Bart Simpson that came in from like a Treehouse of Horror, wasn't it?
Yes.
So like, we could still use Bart. He's still on the fucking
like
table.
I like that. I like Bart for Sanji.
Yeah, we could have like 2 Barts. That no one's telling me I can't have 2 Barts.
Yeah, Luke, you made these rules to make it specific that you could have 2 Barts. You could make this entire crew all Barts if you wanted.
Yes, you could. You could do the all Bart crew.
And like, you're not ready for this next one because I have layers for this one.
Okay.
Kang. From Kang and Kodos.
I am intrigued. Please go on.
Okay, Kang, we know does cook because of the Two Surf Man parody that they have. How to Cook for 40 Humans.
Janine, that is Serac, the preparer, who is voiced by Michael Dorn.
Wait, hang on.
Serac,
no, I think Janine is correct. That there is
I mean, like, it doesn't matter that there was like a separate alien that was like a part of that kind of particular parody. That all of those aliens were reading that same book. They were going to cook for 40 humans. We blew off all the dust on that fucking book.
I'm familiar with Hungry Are the Damned.
And we know that Kang has had relations with Marge with baby Maggie being part alien, so like we know he horny.
Oh, sorry. Serac the Preparer was James Earl Jones.
Yes.
Again?
Yeah, I was trying to remember. Has Dorn shown up on The Simpsons? I'm going right to the wiki. I have it open in case I needed to check something. He does not have a page. Granted, I can't imagine every single guest. Actually, I can't imagine, but who knows?
I don't believe he is.
Well, so be it.
There's still time.
It's not Gargoyles.
As a consolation prize, he gets a Family Guy. That's a step down, but
Yeah. So was that your last one that you had?
Yes, it was.
All right, Dylan, I'm interested in your.
Okay, I have. Granted,
Mhm.
he does not fall under one of the really important of the three qualifiers that you've created.
Mhm.
Here is my completely uh this is my biggest swing of the night.
Mhm.
Mo Sislak. Now, here's my
Hmm.
argument for Mo. When we meet Mo in the show, he's old, he's washed up, but he used to be a boxer and he used to be handsome. He is somebody who is in the food business. He's definitely horny. Um, but he has kind of a secret, like, kind heart that, like a lot of characters on The Simpsons, only really comes up when the episode's about him. But I think that while the joke is usually Mo's a dirtbag, when you scratch the surface of Mo, he's actually an all right guy a lot of the time.
Mhm.
And I think it's not a perfect match. Again, this was hard because the whole
Mhm.
thing about Sanji is that he's just like excess horniness notwithstanding, he seems like a really, from my impression of this arc, he's really cool. And The Simpsons doesn't tend to have characters who are really cool because that's not fun for the tone of the show, right? They
Mhm.
always have to have something really big wrong with them. Um, but I'm gonna say Mo and see how it sits with the two of you because uh, that's the best I got.
You know that's this show though. That is what it is. It's not just the picking. It's like the making your case and the arguing, and you're kind of winning me.
All right. Well, are you ready for me to Phoenix write this shit then, Janine?
All right, go ahead.
All right. So, uh, I will go from worst to best because up first I had Toshiro, who is the apprentice sushi chef who mistakenly believes that he miscut the fugu that poisons Homer, because that falls into the younger, also a chef. Second, I had Jimbo Jones, who is most canonically the horniest of the trio. He is also a teen. Also, not to poo poo on Dolph, Dolph has a kid, like even this early in the show.
I thought Carney was the one with the kid.
Am I mixing them up?
It's so easy to do. It's so
Yeah, they're
fucking easy
always
to do.
together, right? Because Carney's the one who has no like actual drawn in hair; it's just speckles, and Dolph is the one with this sort of
Ah,
big like the big bangs.
yep. Yep. Okay, nope. I was mixing them up. So yeah, Jimbo Jones is the like second one. The third one I have is Freddie Quimby, who horny, famously involved in a conflagration with Chowder, and is a teen technically, which surprised me because I always thought he was in his like 20s.
Right, because his birthday party in that episode, right? That's from The
Mm-hmm.
Boy Who Knew Too Much.
He
Or
is
was it his
16
birthday, or was it
apparently.
like a party about him like being acquitted of something?
I do not remember off the top of my head right now.
It's a great episode, but I don't remember the occasion of the party. I kind of like, see, I like the Bart suggestion to
Mm-hmm.
begin with. I'm kind of like, if I was going to cast a vote, particularly if I can't vote for my own, for
Oh,
myself, I would be voting for Bart. But
I
Jimbo is also an interesting pick because, like you mentioned, this shirt is really chafing him and he needs to take it off.
I still do have the coup de grace though.
Oh,
Ooh.
do go on.
Squeaky voice teen, aka Jeremy
Oh
Friedman.
my god.
No, I know that I picked one of the grosser characters on The Simpsons to pick for Sanji, but I reject this. I roundly reject this. He's canonically the least cool character in The Simpsons, and Sanji is cool as hell.
Oh,
I knew you were gonna have one that was gonna knock me off my ass, and that sufficiently had done it, Luke. Oh my god.
Unacceptable.
No, but
he
now
is
that
at the crossroads.
yeah, but now I feel like our true our true matchup right now is between like Mo, Bart, and Jimbo, and that's like kind of a tough race right there. So
Heavy hitters all.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Dang.
I I feel like Jimbo has the bad boy reputation, and I'd feel less bad about him being horny over every girl than a Bart or a Mo.
Well, I mean, I'm willing to, unless either of you are passionate about it, I'm willing to take Mo off the board in favor of the other two. Um, because I think that youth is more important maybe to the character than I had realized. Um, and but dang, having no overlap between our lists is it makes it difficult.
The Sanji problem is not a lie.
Wow. Okay. Anybody who has heard this episode, you gotta like comment your take up on this because we're probably I don't think we're gonna go back and like review this, but um given how horniness is like key to the character to the point where it becomes a life or death situation, I
Mhm.
would definitely feel a lot better giving it to Jimbo Jones.
Yeah, I'm with you. It feels like Jimbo is the happy medium between, I mean, in terms of age, certainly between all of our picks. Um,
Yeah,
I
like
think
if you had like a Bart and Mo Venn diagram, like right in the middle would be Jimbo.
Jimbo Jones.
Jimbo is the Charmeleon.
All right, I can
All
dig
right.
it. If we're all
Yeah.
happy with it,
Yeah.
I will concede Mo.
So we then have Full Body, who uh, one of the things that One Piece does is they do like chapter illustrations at the beginning of every chapter, and they start to do like stories in between those as a way of like showing what happens to some of the minor characters. Full Body does come back and particularly gets a long arc with another favorite character, but doesn't necessarily do anything super big beyond that. And I'll talk about that later because I don't think it actually comes up in the anime. So for Full Body, I had Jacques, played by Albert Brooks, the bowler slash womanizer, and then Freddie Quimby again because it was just like, Freddie Quimby also seems sort of like an abusive jerk and also loves women.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I do like Freddie Quimby, especially after Chowda incident.
Mhm.
Um I had um I had Legs, Max Legman, one of the Springfield Mafia, because I just kind of like wanted to burn one of the mafia because, after a while, some of the members you can kind of guess like if you're not Fat Tony, you're not really like that big of a player.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But I do like Freddie Quimby a lot.
I also really like the pick of Freddie Quimby for this because I think he gets. I think that like I was having a hard time finding the cross section of traits, and I was really thinking a lot about like the law enforcement angle too much, but I was having a
Mhm.
hard time thinking about like trying to find the right like kind of the right dynamic of that because none of the Springfield cops fit, and I ended up writing down Rex Banner, but that's not a good pick because Rex Banner is extremely straight laced and Full
Oh
Body
yeah.
is a like we like said he's like a shitty date and like kind of slimy, and Rex Banner is scrupulous, so that was a bad pick. Um, I like Freddie Quimby too.
All right, so we are good with Freddie Quimby. We then have Moody, who uh, is pretty much just an attractive woman who shows up to be taken on a date and then hit on. So for this, I had Mindy Sinclair or Miss Springfield. This was kind of a throwaway one.
Yeah,
I
Uh,
also I also had Mindy.
Mindy comes to mind for sure. I didn't have anything. I was honestly thinking about because she's like an anonymous character in this one, trying to pick up an anonymous character from The Simpsons to apply in case. Because I don't know if it was a character to be better to be burning off later. Um, I came up with somebody who I liked and then realized that she was from season 12 or 13, which is
mhm.
Sarah Sloan. the actress that Ned Flanders goes out with after Maud dies for one episode.
Oh,
And that she's not available.
Yeah, I had forgotten to say when I was thinking about Sanji, my mind went to Jesse Grass, the level 5 vegan who doesn't eat anything without a shadow, but that episode has also not come out yet at this time. So I'm good with Mindy if you are too. Like Mindy sort of exists as a temptress.
No objection, I guess. I certainly don't have anything better than Mindy.
All right. We then have Bocce, who is a silverfish in the anime, a fly in the manga, which is an interesting choice. Also has a birthday. Get ready for Bocce's birthday on July 1st.
Happy for him to have a birthday.
Uh,
Happy birthday to the fly.
Yeah, for this I just had Bart with the fly body from that Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah, that's what I have. That's the only pick. Janine, do you have a dissenting opinion?
Wait, what was the pick?
Bart with the fly body.
Oh no, I actually did have something different.
Oh.
You see, because I checked the Simpsons wiki for every on-screen death, and there did have one that was similar. Like, okay, so I'm looking for something that kind of like died as soon as it showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an unnamed beetle that Santa's little helper eats in Bart's Dog Gets an F.
Whoa! You've seriously done you have that is I don't know how you beat that.
You know what? Yeah, no, Janine, you win this round.
I don't win a lot of them, but like when I do, I win hard.
I'm not going to lie. I was very disappointed by the lack of full information on the two Simpsons wikis that I went on for insects. So we then have Zeph, aka Red Leg Zeph, who I feel like there's a very popular answer that we were going to see, which would be Horatio McAllister, aka Sea Captain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I have.
I don't have that.
Oh,
what
who
you
you
got?
rocking with?
Oh, I was gonna go with the Fugu Chef.
The Master of Sushi Chef.
Yes.
That was my second one that I had.
Because his masterful hands were busy at the time, and it's like his entire thing is like he protects his hands. So it's like the emphasis on like his hands, I guess, was just the thing that kind of like led me to it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where it gets to be the challenge is that like that seems like it's a very like thoughtful, very specific pick that's probably a better idea. Because the thing is like this is a show about pirates. You're gonna run into a lot of sea captains, right? But Zeph, I mean, it's the kind of thing where it's like it's such an on the nose pick for Captain McAllister because he is both a sea captain and a restaurateur.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, 1,000 episodes, you're probably going to find another use for Captain Horatio McAllister.
I'm taking a second look at the Master Sushi Chef from The Simpsons.
Yeah,
so,
let me do that too.
Is there vibe check? Toshiro is the assistant. Who? Yeah.
You can hear the sounds of our furious typing.
Mm-hmm.
Master Sushi Chef has no name.
Mm-hmm. Voiced by Sab Shimono.
And it's been a while since I've seen this episode. A long while. And this is a one this character, okay, shows up later in Old Money. But I don't think there's ever another prominent appearance. Mostly as a background character, it looks like. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but like Janine, you gave us like a specific character trait beyond like kind of the costume of the character, which is something that I think is valuable. But I mean, Luke, you've seen how much of this show? Have you seen all of it? Like, are you like up to
No,
date?
but I'm like 100 chapters behind on the manga.
So, but if there was
But
going to
that's
be
still
another
like
character,
900 fucking chapters. So like,
yeah, I would say that's pretty complete, Luke. I mean, like, I know that you're way ahead of the two of us. Let's say,
Yeah,
is there a better match out there for the sea captain out of the very many sea captains that you will see in One Piece? Is there a reason to save the sea captain for another sea captain?
I don't think so. Like, Sea Captain was my kind of answer for this one. Just like off the cuff. There is, I know, another episode that specifically deals with sushi that's coming up not too far.
So there's an
So
argument to be made to save the sushi chef for later and to use Captain McAllister now.
potentially, because also Zep has a lot of emotional ties to Sanji.
And we've cast Jimbo for Sanji, but we don't, at least not in the seasons that I've seen, we don't get a lot of Jimbo's inner life, right?
I don't believe so. We get hints,
Huh.
but my heart still goes to Horatio McAllister, but I could be talked away. So, Janine, are you still heavily Master Sushi Chef?
it's the hands.
The busy hands.
Well, I don't know if I want to try and
I think I can be able to like link somebody who's a sushi chef to like a lot of other chefs who just happen to be like really passionate about their work. But like when it comes to like one throwaway line about groping Edna Krabappel, it struck me, Luke. Like it imprinted on me something deep and horny inside of me.
Yay. All right, then. Yeah, no, let's go Master Sushi Chef. If nothing else, we will have multiple iterations of the Sea Captain pop up in the future. So, and we still have another few characters to get through. Up next, we have Matsu, who's a guy who just steals food off his daughter's plate. And for whatever reason, every time I see him, I'm just like, it's Justin McElroy.
I'm very
Damn.
sure Justin McElroy has like played a Matzel type character. Like I didn't even know who the character was until I looked on the wiki later, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, that guy. Like he has a name. Like does he show up again?
No, I think so. Ichiro Oda, the creator of the series, will occasionally do question segments, and I think someone was just like, "Hey, is that guy stealing his daughter's food?" And he's just like, "Yeah, that's Matzel." And then later on, it's like, "Shit, I gave him a name, so I have to come up with all this other information for him."
All right, well, who do
I
we have
had
for Matzel?
Cesar from the Crepes of Wrath.
Okay. Let me refresh myself on this.
He's
Oh, no, I've got
one of
him.
the
Oh, yeah, this guy. Okay.
yeah.
I can see it.
Refresh my memory though, because I'm not gonna look it up.
Okay,
Uh,
Cesar, the in the episode where they go to France and Bart is stuck working for those French winemakers, he's one of the winemakers.
Ah,
It's a nasty man.
mhm. Did either of you have an alternate suggestion?
I had a throwaway one that was just a random character that shows up for a skit once for Krusty, and that just because like the name was just kind of like similar, but like they look different. It's just kind of like a Janine doesn't care right now. It's 15 minutes before recording.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the matzo ball soup chef.
That's one I got to look up.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This is yeah, you're not kidding around. This is a real one-off. I mean, this is the scale of character that Motzel deserves, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
But also, this man's main trait is that he is a chef.
That's true. He's distributing food rather than taking food. I have a
But the
pick.
thing is, like, it's not even that, like, because it's a part of a skit.
That's true. So in fact, it's an actor playing somebody who distributes and creates food.
Stolen valor.
I have a pick that I'm not like super confident in, and plus I think it's maybe an outsized character to give to Matzel. But if the traits that we have here are kind of like the general face shape that we have to work with, and taking food, I picked Uter. Now Uter Zorker shows up a lot more than Matzel's going to. So I don't know if we want to burn Uter, but they kind of have they both have the sort of shaped head where the size of the head kind of like the sort of the Martin Prince shaped head where it's small on top and big on the bottom, and the hair seems kind of European to me. So
I feel like that's burning Uter.
I think Uter
Burning
deserves better.
Uter.
I mean, we cooking and eating Uter as has happened.
What things like could Uter bring to the table besides being German and fat? Like,
he will give out his Matzapan Joy Joys, and he goes missing after a while, and that's the most famous thing about him because they, for a few seasons, just keep referencing him, but they don't show him. And even like there's a scene where Skinner's just like, "Yes, we're all looking for Uter."
Okay. Like,
I mean, I don't have a strong opinion about it, and also I'm just a guest here. Y'all have to live here and continue to do this project until
right.
and the show in the year 2039.
Apparently, I have to live here, stuck with fucking Uter. So, we can keep your precious fucking Uter.
Yeah, Uter will be back apparently for like I don't know. I kind of I like the idea of picking a character of the scale of the matzo ball soup chef. Luke, what was your pick again? Oh, the Cesar. Cesar, we're going to like sort of a one episode wonder, but more substantial. Like has a more of a role in the show. Matzel has what, like one live dialogue?
Yeah, no, I'm good to use a matzo ball soup chef.
Also, there's the similar name situation, so
yeah, no, that kind of sold it.
You know what we should do? We should have like just an episode where people can just like throw suggestions and then we'll judge if like we can like change anything or not, you know?
I mean, that would be like us changing Wiggum with the idea that I had after. But I mean, part of the danger of this and the fun danger is, we never know what's going to come around. So each choice has some.
Well, I never know what's going to come around.
That's why I'm here.
Okay.
After that, we've got Patty, who is part of the chef crew. He got arms like Popeye and a big, kind of ugly face, and he hates the customer.
So I was frustrated at first, and I was checking around the wikis that Popeye, while there are references to Popeye around the show, Popeye himself has never appeared, and I kind of expected that he might have. But I'm going to see if this is a variant that you will accept. In the episode in which Homer has his jaw wired shut, at the end, in that episode, Homer ends up becoming normal, like kind of like not crazy and doing risky things anymore, and that drives Marge to the brink of insanity. What's up?
I have bad news. That's season 13. Bro.
Damn it! All right. You weren't going to accept it anyway. I was going to say at the end of that episode, Homer takes guzzles 6 beers and becomes Popeye.
Oh, no, there's also Brother's Little Helper where Bart takes Ritalin and at the end...
Oh, and he sings but that's also a later episode, isn't it?
Just take me Ritalin. I'm popping and sailing, man.
For that matter, if that episode was in play, we could just use Mark McGuire. But I'm pretty sure that one's too late too. No, Brother's Little Helper is 1999. That one's in play. I submit Mark McGuire.
Wait, I am checking the Simpsons wiki, and
October 3rd, 1999, episode 11, season 2. We are in business. I submit Mark McGuire.
I mean, I was gonna see about burning Mo on this one, but Mark McGuire.
Actual baseball man, Mark McGuire. Well, I
Have we
thought
used a celebrity guest yet? Like, we used
yes.
celebrity voiced characters that were
Mhm.
actual characters, but actual celebrities playing themselves or
I think
references
the
to
closest thing
celebrities.
the closest thing you have is Spinal Tap, but those are still characters played by the people from Spinal Tap.
That's true.
So
That's true.
I don't see on the list
We
any.
yes we do. Conan O'Brien.
That's
Oh, okay.
right.
Also, the Steve Sachs trio.
Oh, I guess that's real Steve Sachs.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I've said my piece. Anybody got anything else?
I had a few options. What did you have, Janine?
I was gonna burn Mo or Toshiro on this one. So
I had three. I had Akira, the French chef who invents la bombe that he tries to use to kill Homer.
I love that bit so much. That might be my favorite Simpsons sight gag, where he turns the lever that adds the cream, and then turns the lever that adds the poison, and then turns the lever that adds the antidote. Realizes he's done that, and then turns it off.
And then just frying Dutchman waiter. I feel like for the sort of animosity, the French chef who invents la bombe kind of fits, but those Mark McGuire arms are inspired, and I don't know where else we will use Mark McGuire. I also thought that he didn't come in until later.
Yeah, I get like seasons like 9 through whatever confused. This is season 11, so this is like pretty this is like on the cusp. It's Mark McGuire's only appearance on The Simpsons. So it's not as if you're burning a useful character. I did also check to see if Dennis Rodman had ever been on The Simpsons, but it's not until like season 25.
Wild. So are we good with Mark McGuire then? I'm good with Mark.
Well, are we ever going to use a French chef again?
Yeah.
Okay, well that already convinced me. Mark McGuire. Let's give me that arms.
I got one on the board. All my other picks have either been doubles of one of your all picks. Or
that just means like we're up on
good.
the same like wavelength. That's good. We want that.
That's true.
But
I was
like,
happy to be on the Allison Taylor train with you all.
Yes. So then we have Geen. And I had four suggestions for him. None of them felt quite right. One of them tied into another character, but I had Spud. I also had actual actor Bob Denver. I had the lonely man from the Ship of Souls, and then I had Louis the mobster.
I also have Louis Walt. I also have Louis the mobster.
I have one that has another crazy Janine link up.
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
Guy Incognito.
Okay, please explain yourself.
Guy Incognito, Homer's perfect double that shows up in Moe's when Homer was not allowed to, and then gets his ass beat, then thrown out when Homer finds him, is somebody who tries to patron a place and immediately gets his ass kicked and gets thrown out.
That is good. I really like that. First of all, I'm happy whenever anyone references Guy Incognito. Another of my favorite Simpsons gags. And that's a really... Janine, you have a knack for picking stuff that is like so specific, it's kind of hard to argue against.
I am glad that I have lit a fire under you, Janine, because you're bringing a game here.
Oh, shit. Luke, do you want to argue? Because like mine was just attached to, I think, the pretty obvious Don Krieg pick that we're going to get to.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a mob boss coming up later on in the series, so like saving the mobsters might be a good idea. Yeah.
And are we ever going to see Geen again after this arc or after the subsequent arc?
You know, Gin was like one of my favorite dudes in early One Piece, just because we haven't seen him fight yet, but he has some really cool weapons. Uh,
Okay, but
But
is
how
Gene
cool
ever going to
would
be
it be to
known?
like, yeah,
Go
like
ahead.
how cool would it be to like have that come up and just be like, oh look, it's the person we labeled as Guy Incognito, the one small throwaway joke that we still love and makes us laugh to this day.
you know,
That man is my exact double. That dog has a
there's
puffy
a puppy
tail.
tail. Yeah, you know what? That's great, especially since we don't have a Humber yet. All right. Uh, so we then have Carney, who is another chef who's kind of like tertiary chef. I just had the Frying Dutchman chef for him because I had used up all the other chefs on other suggestions. What about y'all?
Luigi Risotto.
I was a big goose egg on this one. I don't have one, but I like either of those picks.
I Luigi, I'd rather save. Like we could just toss off an extra
Okay,
chef.
we'll just throw him over there with Uter then.
Yeah,
in the Uter pile. Henceforth, the minor character too important to is the Uter pile.
I mean, we also have like two other bigger characters to discuss. So, we got Don Krieg, and once again, I have three characters. I had Cooter to go along with the Spud suggestion from earlier. I had LT Smash, and then I had Rainier Wolfcastle.
Okay, I thought LT Smash was not available. I thought New Kids on the Block was too late. Because I was thinking about this is looking it up. Season 12, February 2001. Okay, I was wrong. Because I was thinking about Lieutenant LT Smash, but I thought he was
Wait.
unavailable.
No, we can't use LT Smash. I played myself because these episodes only ran through May 10th of 2000.
Oh,
So
and this is 2001, isn't it?
I played myself.
Damn it! All right, because I was like, first of all, I love this episode, and I think about it all the time. And so, but the gag of them removing the decal of the period between L and T on his name tag and being like, Lieutenant Smash. That's right, Lieutenant LT Smash. It's just a gag I fucking love.
Okay.
But no, you can't use him yet. You're gonna have to save him.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to. You can't use LT Smash yet.
Yeah.
I picked the obvious thing for Don Krieg, which is Fat Tony D'Amico. But I don't know what else that either of you two have in mind.
I mean, I also had Fat Tony as one of mine, but I also have three other ones that I feel like might be kind of strange, but also like maybe fits a little bit better. I had Rainier Wolfcastle as McBain, not Rainier Wolfcastle, but the character McBain that we see. Yeah.
Cool.
Rainier Wolfcastle as Radioactive Man. Up and at them. And then I have
they do nothing.
Yes. I also have finally for like my way out of left field, Gold Homer.
Shit.
Inside of Homer's fantasy, where he's like the world's biggest man and also made out of solid gold.
Oh
hey,
man,
Homer, is there something different about you? Okay,
that's really good.
So my suggestions for McBain are, and specifically not the characters he plays, is for one, my suggestions for Rainier Wolfcastle and not the characters that he plays are Rainier Wolfcastle, known member of the Republican Party. He is actively an actor who we see his career go up the skids many points, and he ends up washed up. And he's also a big and imposing guy who we kind of see other angles of him as time goes on. And I think the physically imposing side works really well. But God, Gold Homer is
Yeah, you make a very good argument for just being legit Rainier Wolfcastle, but Gold Homer is, I think, a really inspired pick.
Yeah.
And I also think one you're not likely to miss later.
Ah.
And like I think it does fit up on how iconic and expensive um Don Krieg is,
Oh
being
yeah.
covered in diamonds and gold.
I had mentioned that One Piece game that I played before, and Don Krieg was great to use in that. Like, we haven't fully seen his moves and stuff, but yeah, no, he's just a guy whose armor is full of guns, and it. Yeah, no, I'm good with Gold Homer.
Gold Homer, Gold
Gold
Homer.
Homer, Gold.
It's hard to
I'm
chant in unison over Zencaster.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that one got you because that was my out of left field, but I'm so happy that you know, out of everything just like hit the hardest.
Hmm.
Yeah, that might be my biggest laugh of the night.
All right. Last up, we have Dracula Mihawk, who is also known as Hawkeye Mihawk. Uh, he is part of a big role that we'll learn more about going forward. He's essentially a privateer, as in a government sponsored pirate. Also, he's just a dude who rides around in a coffin. In the Four Kids manga, they edited the cross that he wore on his neck so it wasn't a cross because they were afraid of religious iconography.
Hmm.
It's weird. Um, I had three choices in here, but Dylan, would you like to give your suggestion?
Yes, and this was inspired in part by a conversation the two of you have in the first episode of this show
Mm-hmm.
about Zoro, the show Zoro. The idea of
Mm-hmm.
using the film character from the poke of Zoro.
Mm-hmm.
I think that maybe this is the time to use Zoro because it's the character that the One Piece Zoro most wants to be
Mm-hmm.
or wants to better.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, there's nobody this cool and competent at what they do in like the real Simpsons universe. Everybody always has some. Anybody who appears to be an authority with skills or deserving of power is always actually not on The Simpsons until you get to the years where they just worship their celebrity guests. But I think if you're going to go with the world's greatest swordsman, you have to go with the like famous great swordsman of fiction, and that is Zoro.
Fascinating. Janine, who are you rocking with?
Oh, I was going to go heavy on side of the vampire theme and go for Vampire Bart. Just kind of like fill this whole place chock a block full of Bart.
Shots apart. Tip to toe.
But you know, like Zoro though, that's making me think now because like that kind of feels a little bit like. I mean, that's a good argument. That's a good ass
Mm-hmm.
argument.
Thank
Mhm.
you. I know it's a little bit of a cheat, and I know there's a reason that the two of you did not choose to use Zoro the first time around for this Zoro,
Mm-hmm.
but it feels like I don't know. It felt like this was the time to play that particular card.
You know, I won't argue with you there. Like, you got me. I was not expecting it to be turned against me. So the three that I had, and I don't remember why I picked them, they just ended up on the spreadsheet, were Arthur Crandall, the ventriloquist who uses Gabo.
Oh yeah.
John from Homer's Phobia, voiced by John Waters,
Mm-hmm.
just because I think my brain was, it's very camp to float around in a coffin and just have a giant sword, and also the idea that John Waters would be voicing Mihawk just had me mildly chuffed. And then Daryl Strawberry, actual baseball player, who is also famously a rival and a well-renowned batsman.
Batsman.
The world's greatest batsman, and we've already used Mark McGuire, so.
Mm-hmm. World's greatest batsman without an asterisk.
Haha.
Steroids.
I think Daryl Strawberry had his own scandals, but I do not think that steroids were among them.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's Homer, Ozzy, and the Straw.
Mm-hmm. Steve Saxon is running with the law. We can't do the whole song; it'll be here all day.
No.
I don't feel as if I'm sold on either John or Crandall.
Yeah.
I feel like you definitely just like looked at the facial hair and was just like, you know what?
Yeah, who's got a pencil mustache, and that's the main thing.
That reasonably might have been it. I like the Zoro suggestion.
I do too. I want to give it to Zoro. I want to give it to Zoro hard.
All right,
and
so
I'm sure
Dylan,
he appreciates it.
Dylan, you got 2 on the board. So congratulations, you got one of our 7 warlords of the sea onto the board.
Yeah, I contributed to the team, and I feel great about it.
Not only that, but you ended up using a card that like Luke tried to pull on me against him. So like that that feels like an us victory.
It's we succeed as a team, we fail as a team. And this
as my parents said, we're all in the same boat.
Hey, and so are many of the characters on the show at this point, because there's only one boat not sunk currently.
They are on the cruise. They are. All right. Well, yeah, what a wild list. So to run over those again, Kushiro is Mr. Taylor, Kuina is Allison Taylor, Johnny and Yosaku are the yellow and black weasels, respectively. Sanji is Jimbo Jones, Full Body is Freddie Quimby. Moody is Mindy Sinclair. Bocce is the unnamed beetle that Santa's helper eats. Zeph is Master Sushi Chef. Matzo is the matzo ball soup chef. Patty is Mark McGuire. Geen is Guy Incognito. Carne is Frying Dutchman Chef. Don Krieg is Gold Homer. And Dracula Mihawk is Zoro from the Poke of Zoro.
Ha-ha!
And also, my brain just remembered, and I can't change it now that it's on the spreadsheet, there is literally a One Piece movie where a guy has the power over gold. But you know what? That's a problem for whenever I guess we do the movies as like live episodes or whatever.
Well, but isn't there a King Midas Simpsons episode?
Is there?
I think there's like a folktale thing where it's King Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, you know what? Hey, I'm a guest star. This doesn't have to be my problem at all. I wash my hands of this responsibility.
I envy you for that.
I'm sorry that you're imprisoned here in this fool's errand of casting every character in One Piece.
Well, Dylan, if we wanted to watch you mournfully from this prison that we have built around ourselves through these iron wrought bars that we cannot break through, where can we find you online?
My own stuff and my writing, like my film criticism and TV criticism, can be found on Twitter at Dylan Roth, DYLANROTH. That's Dylan as in Bob, Roth as in David Lee, no relation. And my band No Jersey can be found on various social media platforms at No Jersey No Problem.
Why No Jersey?
It's we made a list of 136 band names and took a vote. And that's the only one that received more than one vote. It was unanimous. But now the actual answer is 2 of us are from New Jersey originally, and we're in Brooklyn now. And I have kind of a habit of writing songs that have a particular kind of beat behind them that I associate strongly with a couple of New Jersey acts, like the Gaslight Anthem. And we were working on songs for the new record, and I brought in like a song that had that particular pattern behind it. That I've been calling the Jersey Heartbeat one too many times. And our guitar player, Sam, says, you can't do that anymore. You have to do something different. No more Jersey. No Jersey. And then we decided that could be that could be the name of the band. It is not it's not meant to be a diss against the state of New Jersey. My mother hates the band name, and so does Julian's. Our parents don't like it, but they shouldn't have raised us on music about leaving New Jersey.
Well, and that's fair because Mom and Dad don't understand rock and roll. But yeah, no, I'm very excited for the new stuff you coming out. I was a big fan of the last band that you were in, so
Really,
make sure to
appreciate your support. It's been you were one of the Hell Yeah Babies' greatest fans, and I really always appreciated your support of our music. So I hope you really love the new stuff. We should have an EP out. The No Jersey debut EP should be out in. I'm hoping in the next month. It's getting mastered now. So
nice. Janine, you're stuck in here with me. I'm stuck in here with you. Where can people find you online?
Well, if they feel so, no, they're not also like trapped in here. I can't say if they're lonely enough and want to be able to find company inside this prison. If you want to visit me inside of my prison, you can be able to find me on Twitter at Janine Juliet. You could also be able to find the podcast that I haven't updated in forever, My Favorite Pokemon, where you find podcasts, and on Twitter at My Favorite Pokemon. That's Pokemon spelled PKMN. I keep on promising that I'll update it. Maybe. Encourage me. I'll do it. If people want
Do
it.
it, Janine.
you can do it.
Come on, Janine. You should be a podcast machine.
My Favorite Pokemon was mentioned by name in this episode.
Mm-hmm. And you need to mention this show in the next episode of My Favorite Pokemon.
That's true. That's true.
Get regular Janine-based content that you don't need to edit.
All right. I'll start booking guests, and I'll start maybe I'll get Zencaster and be like just like you, Luke.
Just like Bart.
Just like Bart.
But especially Bart.
All right. And you can find me on Twitter at Coltreg. That's KOLTREG, or you can visit my website that I also haven't updated at LukeHair.com. DohMance Dawn is a podcast that happens every other week. I spend way too much time doing spreadsheet stuff related to this show, so I'm.
Where can they find the podcast on Twitter?
You can find the podcast on Twitter at DohMance, DohMance. You can also visit our website, which is a Tumblr at DohManceDawn.com. And also, thank you again to Colt Hoskins, who has done our covers so far. Colt, your covers are excellent, and they delight me because you turn the nightmares that I have a hand in into reality. You can find Colt over at COLTHOSKINS. That's Colt Hoskins on Twitter. Next week, or next episode, we'll be back, just Janine and I, to add one more character to the list because they only put in one more guy into the next batch of episodes. So, Dylan, you going to at least finish off this arc and watching it?
I'm thinking about it. I had a lot of fun watching this. It's a really big commitment, but I am kind of curious to see where One Piece goes from here, at least in the short term.
Well, I'm glad. I believe in you because
it's been a long road.
Well, I mean, it has. You should play that again when you catch up to the show, because it will really be true.
Yes. We will see you all in 2 weeks. Catch you on the flip mode. Yar.